In the year 2029, which is basically the present, just a few years from now, the machines rule. And instead of going back in time and escaping into the past and just living out our lives in a better yesterday, we fight for tomorrow on a charred world that's run by machines, on a hellscape that's not worth fighting for anymore. Yet somehow we... Is this recording? Yeah, it's recording. Anyway, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, 1987 Chevrolet Caprice. This was the cop car. It says on the side, to protect and serve, which is like shown in close up in the movie when the T-1000 pulls into John Connor's foster parents' house, and he comes walking out in his outfit, and he's like asking them about John and acting like very kind of like almost human but not quite.
Yeah,
it's the first time you actually see him speak to someone, and it's a very iconic scene. And it's a very iconic car, Chevrolet Caprice. This was back when cop cars were cars and not SUVs.
And men were men.
Yes, yeah.
So
it's not quite a what's the one car that they
Crown Vic.
Crown Vics. Yeah, it's not quite a Crown Vic. Like there's someone both of us know who basically refused to drive anything but a Crown Vic, like an ex-cop car or an ex-taxi. But yeah, Chevy Caprice is another one that was used a lot. And the black and white design, which is also kind of a thing of the past.
So my grandfather drove Caprices.
Yeah?
That was basically the majority of his later life, the car he drove. Rear wheel, V8 engine, old school design. Big ass vehicles.
I wonder what the car, the Blues Brothers cop car. I think that was a Crown Vic. I'm not sure though.
Or a Ford LTDE or something. I don't know. I'd Google it, but I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up while you talk.
So it was really cool, and this is to me really the peak of the Terminator series, Terminator 2.
Oh yeah.
It was just really awesome. I loved watching it, but I think
it was the peak of action movies.
Yeah, I mean Arnold was at his peak, and it was just really cool and badass, and just the liquid metal Terminator, and
first really one of the first really effective uses of CGI in a movie.
Yeah.
And it still holds up today. I mean, that movie, you could watch it now, and it holds up perfectly well 31 years later.
Yeah. So
I made a video about it. I have a series called Let's Get Physical Media on my channel, Captain Unusual, where I do like 59 second shorts.
Yeah.
Of like different movies in my DVD collection. And episode 2 was Terminator 2.
We'll have to pin that down there and for real, like put it in the comment section.
Yeah.
You could put it in the comment section too.
Yeah, I basically spend like 59 seconds talking about what I like about that movie, which is pretty much everything. I mean, it's just a brilliant film. It's the Citizen Kane of action movies.
Yeah. It's really good. Like I can't think of anything that I don't like about it.
The Bluesmobile is a 1974 Dodge Monaco. Dodge Monaco sedan.
Would never guess that.
Yeah, no.
So, but this one was really fitting for cop cars. And some of those cop cars, those Crown Vics, they actually had a Corvette engine in them. Some. And I heard those were the best ones to ride in and just vroom, vroom, vroom with.
Yeah.
So.
We'll show the back side here where it basically tells you the plot of the movie, just in case you didn't already know. But yeah, it's probably in my top 10 favorite movies, honestly.
Yeah, I'd put that in mine.
It's really up there. It's just the casting is great. The acting, the special effects are pretty much flawless. as I say in my Let's Get Physical episode, it shows how obsessive James Cameron was.
Yeah, he still is. Like with the Titanic and with Avatar and all that crap that he makes. The guy's a pretty obsessive director.
Yeah, he wanted to. I mean, when he made this movie, he made it to hold up. He made it to last. Like there's only one plot hole in the movie that I can find, that I can see. One significant plot hole. There are a couple of like not so significant ones. There's only one that kind of bothers me a little
What's
bit.
that?
That's how near the end, when the T800 and the T1000 are fighting,
Yeah.
and the T1000, like the T800 punches the T1000, and the T1000 turns into liquid and just lets the Terminator punch through him.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't he do that before? Because that's like a perfect defense. It's just to let the T800 punch through him instead of like damage him, like punch him. Like, why did he remain solid up until that point?
Whoa, that's pretty trippy, dude.
Like that's something that always bothered me. It's like, look, if you're a machine and you want to take someone out efficiently, your opponent out efficiently, like that's a perfect defense, is to just turn into a liquid while you're being punched and then basically like envelop the other guy. Like, why didn't he try that before?
Maybe he could only do so much so often or something. Like he had to have a reboot period.
Yeah, or maybe sometimes I almost think maybe he was programmed not to destroy the other Terminator. Like maybe the Terminators are programmed not to destroy each other, and the T1000 hadn't been programmed to be willing to destroy the T800, just neutralize him but not destroy him, like disarm him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then as the T1000 kind of learned on its own and realized that the only way to complete its mission would be to destroy the T800, that's when it finally started to really fight back.
Yeah.
But it's not a major plot hole. I mean, it's something that always bothers me a little bit when I see it, but I see the movie as a work of art.
Yeah.
Even if it has like 3 or 4 plot holes in it, that's still better than like the 12 or 13 plot holes that modern movies have.
Yeah.
Like these days, you can't watch a single action movie that isn't just one giant plot hole. So it's.
I watched Terminator 3, and that was the last Arnold Schwarzenegger one. That one was okay, but it wasn't as good as the second one. But then all the other expansions and reboots and all that, they've just been crap, and I've only watched bits and pieces of them.
Yeah. Genesis was kind of interesting because it had J.K. Simmons in it.
Yeah.
And I like J.K. Simmons. And it was a little bit, the casting was bad. The guy who was cast as Kyle looked nothing like the original Kyle. Emilia Clarke played Sarah Connor.
Oh.
And she's a pretty good fit, except she's too short. She's like 5'2" or something, and she's not tall enough. Like Linda Hamilton was taller.
Yeah.
Another thing, Linda Hamilton is a twin, and her twin was in the movie. The scenes where the T1000 is imitating her, and there are two Sarah Connors. One of them is actually Linda Hamilton's twin.
Damn.
Yeah.
It's authentic CGI.
Yeah. Well, it just shows what a fortunate world we live in. We got two. It's like damn, there's 2 of them.
I know.
But
there was.
Do you know that James Cameron married Linda Hamilton?
No.
They were married for a while.
Wow.
Yeah. And then from what I hear, he cheated on her and they got divorced.
Wow.
But yeah, after Terminator 2, they got married.
Yeah, and he had nothing to do with any Terminator film after 2, right?
He was the producer, the quote producer, but a lot of those producer titles are fairly meaningless.
Well, and it just means he might have fronted some money for it.
Yeah.
So he'd get royalties on it.
And he talked about how proud he was of it and everything, but I don't think he really gave a crap about it at that point.
It's like, oh yeah, it's another movie. Give me your money and buy this.
Yeah. No, really, 1 and 2. Those are the only ones I care about. There are certain franchises. It would have been cool if they could have been made into a trilogy, like a good trilogy like Terminator and Ghostbusters, but sometimes you have to be happy with just the two.
Yeah.
And I think that Terminator 2 was a good end to the story.
Yeah.
And I like the kind of the slight sense of uncertainty. It's kind of like, okay, they think they've they think they've changed the future, but they don't know for sure. You know, they're always going to be wondering, and it kind of goes along with the theme of the movie, which is there's no fate but what we make. So it's kind of like nothing is promised, nothing is guaranteed. There's an alternative ending where it flashes forward to the future, and the war didn't happen, but
Well, that's true.
James Cameron cut that out because he didn't like that. He wanted to keep that sense of uncertainty at the
Yeah.
end, which I prefer too.
Because life is a burning house.
Yes, it is.
You don't know how it's going to go, man.
Yeah, but really good. There's a good YouTube video where a guy interviews Robert Patrick, and they go to a lot of the scenes in the movie.
Oh yeah, you sent me that. I watched it. That was pretty cool.
That was cool. Yeah, yeah, because they visited that aqueduct.
Yeah, where the truck hit.
And then they visited the house that the foster parents lived in, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, Robert Patrick's a cool guy. He was, and that's another great thing. How menacing he could be, and how threatening he could be against Arnold Schwarzenegger. You have this like kind of little guy. I mean, he's not a big guy, and he's throwing Arnold Schwarzenegger around, and you totally buy it.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he was such a convincing villain opposite Schwarzenegger. Because imagine how menacing you would have to be.
Yeah.
Being this average sized guy, or maybe even a little bit on the short side, versus this
Giant
bodybuilder, bodybuilding champion, so was one of the great performances of Robert Patrick's career, and he believed in that movie too. Like he was involved in the advertisement of it. Like he helped advertise that movie, and he would say this is one of the greatest movies ever created, and he believed it. Yeah. He was really proud to be part of this movie, and I can't blame him.
Greenlight makes some really cool licensed products. That's who manufactured this. You can see it multiple spaces on there.
Yeah.
But they have the branding from Chevy. They got their seal of approval. And then they also have the Greenlight production. So they're more expensive than a lot of cars. But to me, I'm never going to open these. I'm just going to keep them in the original packaging. It's just really kind of cool of a snapshot,
Yeah.
So
what you're saying is let's go branding.
Oh!
Let's go branding.
Yeah, that's what you said. It got me banned from YouTube for the rest of the
I
time.
said branding.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So I am gonna work through more diecast stuff, and I'm really glad we do these weekly ones, and we'll see more good quality stuff coming. But yeah, Chevy Caprice, all that. They made the Caprice until '96.
Yeah.
Then they stopped. Then eventually the Impala became kind of like the half-ass Caprice. And I don't know what all happened after that.
Yeah, this definitely looks like an old-fashioned what they used to call land boat.
Yeah.
Like one of those big old cars before they had SUVs.
Yeah.
Oh, and one more thing, my favorite scene in Terminator 2 is when they're in that aqueduct and he's chasing them in the semi.
Yeah.
And the top of the semi gets taken off when he goes under the bridge. And they look back and they think that maybe he was cut in half or something. But then he pops up. He pops up and he pushes what's left of the windshield out of the way.
Yeah.
And that's the scene where you're like, oh shit, this guy's indestructible. It's like, this is not going to be easy.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing. Like in the first Terminator, they were able to do damage to the Terminator almost right away. As the movie goes on, he becomes more and more damaged, in this movie, it's not until almost the very end that he starts showing any signs of damage at all.
Well, that's just because they lured him into the lava thing at the ironworks or whatever.
Right, right. Up until that point, there was really no sign of any kind. They weren't able to do any damage, and that was part of what made him so menacing. Was like, how do you destroy something made out of liquid? You know, that can put itself back together. Yeah. So, anyway, really good movie and nice vehicle right in the package.
Cool.
I really would. You're gonna make a display room at some point, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put some on display and do all that.
Cool. Yeah, because some of these, like, I'd like to see hung up on like a big bulletin board or something.
Yeah.
Because like these are perfect. Like you could take a thumbtack or something, just hang them up on the wall.
Yeah, that's what I like to do. I think I got extra board somewhere.
Then that could be like your backdrop when you decide to finally show your face and like do weekly weekly live streams and shit.
Yeah. I'll show my face as well as some of those guys that do stock footage.
Yeah, with like a white mask.
This is my COVID mask. You've been warned. You know what the channel is. This is the most you will see or hear from me. You know, I got that voice.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, we'll just plug our channels now.
Diecastinator,
which is the one you're watching right now, and then I'm Captain Unusual. I've got a channel by the same name. I collaborate with Diecastinator on both my channel and his channel, and we'll see you later.